Hi everyone, it's Nat back again to do the second part of my design team project for Tracie Fox Creative. So if you watch the first part, I am making a cinch-bound art journal for myself. I'm actually making two. So in today's video, I need to do my covers and we need to put it all together. So that will be fun. I'm doing a little bit of mixed media. Definitely not my expertise. I always get nervous about doing covers as it is without trying mixed media and that on them. But why not have a bit of fun and give it a go? It really doesn't matter. I figure if I do it in front of you, then any of you who might be a bit nervy will feel better about doing it yourselves. So anyway, we did finish off the last video by adding these pocket pieces to the inside of our front and back covers. So with the front covers, we had the double pocket, so we've got a little one here. Now, I won't be able to fit much into these because I haven't gusseted them or anything. But the idea is if I have scrap papers and that I might want to use, that I'm cutting out to use in my art journal, I can slip them in here and then I'll remember that that's what I wanted. And I left it unstuck towards this side to make it a little bit easier to get in and out. Still might need tweezers if they're little bits, but that's why I thought I'd do this pocket for the little bits. And I can put bigger bits in here and I should be able to get them out okay. So it means we've got this side that we need to cover. So this will sit like that, open it up, and we've got the open side over here. So I've got both my covers here for both the journals. For the cover pieces, I have chosen these beautiful kit pages. So I'm using the Pretty Pink Scraps kit. It is gorgeous, and I love these pages because they have the big florals and that on them, and I thought that there's a lot we can do with them. So that's what I'm using. So one will go on one and the other will go on the other, and what I've done is printed this out twice, so I've got exactly the same for the back cover as well, but I'm not going to embellish that, I don't think. So firstly, I'm going to do some stamping on my cover pieces. I have this white ink that I just bought. It's a fabric ink, so it seems to be quite wet. It's the first time I've used it, but I'm going to give it a go anyway. I'm using a text stamp and just stamping here and there with some random bits of text. I have already put a spray coat of the workable matte fixative from Helma onto the cover pieces prior to doing this to protect the digital before I do any of this. So now on my other cover piece, I'm using my black archival ink to do the same. Now I want to do some modelling paste, so I'm just doing a bit of a test on this piece of paper because I do want to colour it after I put it on my digitals, but I want to test out the colour first. So this is just Anko brand modelling paste that I'm using here from Kmart, and it works really well. Although I am using the bits that are on the lid there and they seem a bit more dry in comparison to what's in the actual jar, but I don't want to waste it, so I'm using that. So I'm doing this sort of harlequin print and doing it in different directions. I'm not being too overly fussy with this. There are some little bits that go where they probably shouldn't, but I'm not worrying too much. If I take it off and it looks too messy, you do have time to lift it back up with your palette knife and clean it up a bit. As you see here, it comes off quite cleanly. But otherwise, I don't mind a few overhanging bits. Makes it look a little more shabby. So this does take quite a while to dry, so I leave it for a good few hours to completely dry once I've done. So I repeat this process on my other cover piece as well. So next I have die cut these letters, spelling the words art journal with them. So I've done one lot and I've heat embossed with some chunky Lindy's embossing powder that I got from Witchcraft Do You Do. Sort of pink and silver. And I want to do sort of, I think they call them shadow letters. So I stick the embossed piece onto another piece underneath that's offset just a little bit. So I'm doing one lot on pink cardstock and the other lot on black cardstock for the shadow. So now I want to colour my modelling paste. And I'm using a little bit of water, and then I'm trying out some mica powder that I got from Marketplace a while ago. I'm just mixing that into the water. And then I'm using the scrap bit of paper that I put some modelling paste on just to test the colour to see if I like it or not. It's a nice shimmer in it, but I do want a bit more colour. Just adding a little bit of this light pink acrylic paint to it. That's given me a bit of colour, but it's still not quite there, so I add a bit of this darker pink. And I just keep testing it on my scrap piece until I get the colour that I want. So I love the shimmer that the mica's given to this paint that I'm making up. It's given me a nice subtle pink there. So now, initially I put the stencil over the top and painted it on, but I did notice that the water and paint was going under the stencil onto the digital, and I did not want that to happen. So I decided after this first try that I would not do it with the stencil so I could see better where the paint was going. So I paint the colour on and then I do just dab it with my tissue lightly so it's not too wet. So it's very hard to see here probably because it is such a light pink, but that's what I wanted. But you can see the glimmer a lot when you move it around. So for my other cover piece, I'm using a darker pink mica powder. And I mix that in with the water and some of the dark pink paint again. When I test it just with the mica, it's quite nice, but it's not quite the colour that I want. So the pink paint helped get the colour that I thought suited the page better. I've got a fair bit of this paint mix left over, so I'm going to put it on a scrap piece of paper and die cut some shapes out of it after. So paint that on. You can see that one a lot better because it's darker. Now I've got the pieces for the backs. So they're just the same print of the digital, but I'm leaving them plain. They've just been sealed. I need to attach these to the back covers, and I'm doing that the way I've done all the other pages with my double-sided tape and some glue. So this will be all I'm doing for the back covers, but as I'm playing around with my art journal, I can always add more to it if I want to. And then I have left my paint on my modelling paste to dry, so I think at this stage I will also stick my front covers down as well. I decided to do that before I add anything else to the covers, just so I don't mess up the covers while I'm doing it. I didn't want to do my stamping and modelling paste while it was on the chipboard, in case I got it off the edges and that. But now that that's done, I can stick it down and get on with embellishing more. Now, before we go further, I have decided to punch the holes, especially in my covers, because with the front cover I am going to do more embellishment, and if it's over near the edge, it will be hard for me to slip this under where I need to punch it, and it'll enable me to see where my holes are when I'm doing the embellishing. So I think it's sensible to do that now. And while I've got my cinch out, I might as well do my pages as well, because they're ready to be punched. So we will get that done. Now, I have done a tutorial before on how to use your cinch machine. I will try and remember to link that down below. Write myself a note. But what I've gone ahead and done is figured out where I needed to move my rule apart so that I can get my holes pretty well in the centre. I could punch more holes so they go right to the ends if I wanted to, but I'm not going to fuss around with that. So I've found if I have my ruler at about 1 3/4 inches. Oh yeah, you can see there. So I have pulled it out a little bit so that this line here at the start, the top here, lines up with the 1 3/4 inches down there. And I've made a note of that so that if I happen to move this, I know exactly where I need it for my pages. And even though it has a little centre mark here and everything, I find it too hard to figure out where I want everything by measuring. So I found it easy enough just to grab some scrap paper, put it in, measure either end there, and then just move the ruler a bit until I got it. You can see I practiced a few times till I got it positioned where I sort of wanted it. And then I wrote down that number. So we've got our front covers, which we'll do first. But make sure you've got everything the right way, so we know that the front cover's going to sit that way. So I will put it in like that, push it so that it's firmly at the back of the cinch there. And then we can, I've got all of my holes active. They're all pressed in, ready to go. So there will be 12 holes that I am punching here. It's a bit of an effort to punch it down. And there are our holes now. I thought it might end up going through some of my stitching here, which it has. But I don't think that's going to matter too much because we did stick it as well. So we can do our other cover piece. Again, make sure you've got it the way that you want it. It's looking good. It's a good workout. Okay, now we want to do our back cover pieces. Now with these, of course, when the book is together, it is going to be like that. So just to make sure that your holes are punched in the right area, we want to punch that this way. So with the inside facing up. Like so. And so that should line up when we put our pieces together. Yes, the holes are looking good there. So we do that again with this piece. So that's the way it will be upwards. That's the way it will be once we've got it together with the front cover. Make sure I haven't moved my ruler. Press it to the back. And push it down. So that's all of our cover pieces done. So I'll grab a couple of pages to do with you. Now I have some of the folder pages that we did by putting the digital on top. I've got 4 of them, and I'm just making sure they're together nicely. And I made sure they're up the right way, well, what I think is the right way. It's a bit hard to tell with these. One of them looks a bit crooked, but I can cut that off afterwards if I need to. So they're looking good. So now we can slip that in. And can I pull it out? Shouldn't be stuck in there, but sometimes they get a little bit. There we go. Must have been this piece that got stuck. So we can see there we've cut our holes in those pages. And then we've got our diary pages here. So what I might do with them is, there's 18 of them, so I might do about 6 at a time or something around that. Now I don't have to worry about the direction of these. Can I get them out? There we go. So I will finish doing the rest of the art journal pages and all the pages for my other journal since I'm doing the 2. So I'm back to embellishing the cover now. I have frames for my covers which I die cut out and I heat embossed them with the Lindy's chunky powder that I got from Witchcraft Do You Do. I also have my letters. I showed you how I was going to put them together. I have a few bits and pieces for the covers that I've cut out of some of the ephemera from the digital. I also cut some of the flower pieces out of a copy of the background page there. And I have a pile of flowers which I cut out of a gardening book for roses. I just really like the colour, and when I saw them I thought they might go nicely with this, so I thought I would challenge myself to try and make them work somehow. So there's a bit of an odd lot of stuff going on here, so I'm just figuring out placement of some of the flowers that I might want up the top there before I put my letters down. I cut the edges off the flowers so that they go flush with the edge of the page there, so we still get our chipboard border. Now I've backed most of my ephemera pieces, I have backed onto pink cardstock. Just gives it a bit of height, but also makes it a lot more stable, especially with those book cutouts, because they were like magazine paper. I'm figuring out the positioning of my ladders. Then I can start sticking them down. Now this picture of the lady come from one of the ephemera pieces, and she's a little bit big for the frame, so I'm just putting a little dot under each corner so I can rule some lines and know how big to cut her so she fits nicely under the frame. Trying to see my line there. Always draw lines and then I can't find them. So as you can see, I've got some of the same flowers that are on that background page that I've cut out again that I want to position over the top of the frame. Just making some marks so I know where I want to adhere my lady. Once she's stuck down, I can stick the frame over the top. So I'm just applying glue around the inside square, not the whole lot of the frame, so that if I decide I want to slip some flowers underneath a bit, I can. I'm just not quite sure yet where I want everything. I think I'm using my spun sugar distress ink there just to run around the edges in case there's any little white bits. So these are all your roses out of the book. So they are glossy and the kit is matte, so I didn't know if they'd go together right, but I think they look pretty cool. I also have fake flower petals that I would really like to add to this as well. I've got heaps of fake flowers and I want to start using the petals in more projects. So you can see that I slipped that flower underneath the edge of the frame a bit, and then I can stick the frame back down on the flower. And these ones I'm putting on top of the frame a little. I'm just using my tacky glue to stick the petal down a bit, and then when I put the other flower over the top, that'll help hold it down. I'm not sticking it right to the edges though, because I do like the look of the edges lifting up a bit. Takes me forever to decide what to put where. I decide on that pink flower, but then I think I go and stick the white one down anyway. So I'm just sticking these petals, the edge of them's up under the frame. So I have a stamen there, and I've been wanting to use some of them because I've got a pile now, so I thought I would just twist them around a bit so they sit the way I want, and then stick them down as well. That was a bit fiddly. It was hard to get them sitting the way I wanted them to. Probably should have stuck some more around the place, but whenever I try to do more, I usually mess something up, so I usually quit while I'm ahead these days. So I was going to use tacky glue to stick the stamens down, but I wasn't going to secure them enough, so I ended up using my fabric glue. And then there I go, sticking down the white flower. Then I realised that I was meant to do the pink one, and the pink one's a bit bigger, so I thought it'd be safe to pull up the white one and stick the pink one down. I have this paper flower. I got that from a marketplace haul I got the other day. There were just 2 of those flowers. And I like the colours for these projects, so I thought that's it, I'm going to put one on. Afterwards I looked at it and I thought, I don't know if it really goes. But it's on there and I wanted to use it, so I did. The colour's nice. I do stick some of the edges of the petals down because I don't want too much, but I'm not a fan of a lot of bulk. I don't like the thought of having to worry when you open up something like this that you're going to be damaging things. So, yeah, tried to flatten it out a bit. Initially with this lovely lady and the ladies on my other cover, I was going to make lace dresses for them, but when I put her there with the flowers covering the base of her, I really like the look of that, so I decided just to go with that instead. I can always do lace ladies on something else. So again, it just takes me half an hour to decide which flowers I want where. So that set of 3 flowers is from the Rose book, and this one that I'm sticking down now is the same flower that I am going to be covering up with it. I'm just offsetting it a bit. So like I said, the ladies came from ephemera pieces that are in the kit. So I'm doing the other cover off camera, but you will see it when I've finished it, of course. So I've got my white gel pen and I'm just putting a line on one side of each of my diamonds there. And that, I think, is this cover finished. So now I have to put my journal together. So I've got some gold wire coils there, and I'm just counting the prongs. I want 12 prongs because I have 12 holes in my pages. And I put them on the little hook piece there that holds onto them for me while I put the pages on. So you make sure all your pages are up the right way, and we are going to start by putting our pages on first. So I'm putting the last few pages on, so you leave the covers to last. So I'm putting on 2 of my art diary pages, and then I put on one of my folder covered pages with the digital, then 2 more art journal pages, and then another one of the digital pages, and I continue doing that until I've got all the pages on. So once I have all the pages on, it is time for me to do the covers. So you put the front cover on first, facing up the right way like all the pages, then you put the back cover on, sort of back to front like that, because we'll flip that over after we've pressed the coils together. So I'm just putting them in the back where you press them down, squeezing them. And then you'll see I flipped that back cover back over. So that was a journey making those. These are my 2 art journals, which I absolutely love. They're very pink. But the kit inspired me to go pink and enjoy it. So I think I'll be doing lots of pink stuff in my art journal. I'll probably keep one for myself, and I might part with the other one sometime. It'll be hard to decide which one though. Now this is the cover we did together, and I had put one of these flowers on. The other flower I had kept in case I wanted it on the other cover. It didn't go with the other cover, so I put it on here. It looks a lot better having 2 than just one of them. They're a bit odd, but everything on here is a bit odd because most of the flowers come out of a rose book, which I will show you. So this was the rose book. I haven't got the covers, which isn't very helpful, but there are piles of this sort of thing around. And I have been going through and just cutting out the squares and putting them away for future projects if I think they look good for fussy cutting. And look, it's just full of them. So I have hundreds and hundreds. And I just happened to be doing that at nights when I started this project. And I thought, oh, I think some of the colours would go nicely with this kit. So that was a great find. You noticed I did put fake flower petals on, and I sealed it with the gloss sealant, and hopefully that'll protect it nicely. So we'll have a quick look at this one, and then we'll have a quick look at the other one that I made. So they are just plain pretty well on the inside. So you open it up and we've got a pocket page there to put offcuts and that in. And then we have the printable on our folder page. I've left the other pages of them blank so I can do collaging or whatever I like on those as well. And then between each one of those pages, I've got 2 of my art diary pages. So I don't think you need to see the whole lot. So I'll just give you a quick flick. And then at the back we've got our other pocket page that just has a single pocket there. And then we've got the back cover, which is the same print as the front cover. I just haven't embellished it. So that's the first one I've put together. And the second one I've done with black binding coils because it has black on the cover. And that. So this one I did very similar. I did completely forget that I wanted to put some curtain lace underneath some of the flowers and that as well, but oh well, I always forget something. So I've got the title with the shadow letters. I think I mixed up my U and my N because the shadows are on the other side, but hey, you get that. I love the mica on the modelling paste. It's a nice 3D effect, and I did do some black pen under those ones. I did, white pen on the other one. And I just put the bird in the heat embossed frame on this one. I cut flowers that were already on this page. I cut them again and put them down for some height. And I've got some of my fake flower petals on this one as well. I've got a couple hiding here as well. And I got this lady. I did cut some extra flower pieces and the ladies out of the ephemera pieces for the kit. And I think the bird came out of one of the ephemera pieces too. And I still have all of the rest of the ephemera that I can use in here if I want to, or in other projects. So that is the cover. And then it's just the same, really. It does have different pages, though, because there were 21 pages in the kit, so I used 9 of them for these divider pages in each one of my journals. And then the same one for the cover, back and front cover. And then I've got one left over. There's the other pocket. And there's the back of that one. So that was the digital before we did it up there. And again, I've used flowers that came from the magazine here and here. Not as many on this one as I did the other. There's another one there. So it was interesting trying to fit them in with the digital flowers and that. And they aren't glossy where the digital is matte. So, but I really like the way it turned out. And it's great to be able to recycle those book pictures with the kit pieces as well. So I absolutely love that. So thank you so much to the lovely Tracie Fox for the awesome kit. All of Tracie's links will be down below, as will the direct link to this kit if you're interested in checking it out. Also, there's a link to the other Foxy creative design team members who do awesome work. So I hope you enjoyed that. A very simple project. Although there are a few pressure points with the cinch and that. I did notice when I was pushing some of my pages in to punch the holes that they weren't going all the way to the back, so I did have to recut and punch some of my art diary pages so that they fit in right. And then, yeah, trying to get the coil tight enough. I think I'm going to press this one again because it's a bit loose, but the black one worked fine. So if you do have a binding machine, I hope that you'll have a go at making your own art journal. I'm looking forward to having heaps of fun in one of these, trying out a whole lot of techniques, and I might show you one or two if they turn out any good. So take care of yourselves, be good, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.